Your change of story is at the mercy of your obedience. Every change of story is always triggered by an act of obedience. If you look at this commission, you will discover that every change of story in this commission has been a product of obedience. Having received the call into ministry when the Lord appeared to his servant and gave that 18-hour vision, he began to think that it would be needful to go and get some training in America, where the center of the move of God was at that time. And then the voice of the Lord came and spoke to him. The things that you seek do not come from abroad, but from above. You are not going to any America. Hear this, not every opportunity is the pathway to destiny. That a door is open does not mean it is God's door. There are many doors that are traps in disguise. By that word, he sat back and stayed. It was the first test for the first change. And then suddenly, after the commissioning service was directed towards the ministry kicking off in Jos. And after the service, he got back in the night and began to worship the Lord and began to appreciate the Lord. And suddenly the voice of the Lord came. He said, it was not me that you heard when you said you are going to Jos. He said, remember when you were playing table tennis in the Gentile area of Jos, and you said in your heart, if there is any place I would like to live, it will be in Jos. He said, that is the voice you heard. What do I do? Stay where you are. Staying in the place where you have told everybody you are living, where they have prayed for you that you are going, it was a test of obedience for a change. Please hear this. The instruction of God may look colorless, but obedience to it is what makes life colorful. That was a test of obedience. Stay there in the lorry, and he stayed. And suddenly, after things began to move in the lorry and the Faith Liberation Fellowship was exploding, then the Lord spoke again. Go down to Damascus, and I will tell you the things that I have there for you. That was the move to Kaduna. If you check each one of them, with every act came a change. With every act came a change. With every act came a change. If you went to America, the ministry may have been lost there. That was the instruction for preservation. If you went to Jos, it may have lost identity. That was the instruction for propulsion to kick off. When Kaduna was introduced, it was the beginning of another dimension of breakthrough. And then after Kaduna began to erupt, church was growing, things were exploding. Suddenly the voice of the Lord came again. Get down to Lagos and raise me a people. And then left Kaduna and came to Lagos. And there is no doubt there was another change of level. And after things began to erupt in Yanokwaja, services, 5 services on Sunday with people everywhere. You need to see some of the clips of that time. People were on the road, people were on the buildings, some people were hanging on trees to listen to the word of God. It was unimaginable breakthrough. But then the Lord brought again another instruction. Having been brought to the front of Canaan land here, thinking it was too far, totally contrary to anything that has to do with church growth, God said, this is the place. Another act of obedience. Now you too can testify that what God has done here is something that is marvelous and beyond human comprehension. The lesson is this: for anyone to experience change, there must be commitment to obedience. There must be commitment to obedience. So obedience of faith is what commits God to our supernatural change. It is an act for a change, an act for a change. It instructs you, take action, and it propels a change of story. For somebody hearing my voice, beginning from this night onward, I see your change of story taking place supernaturally.
Sure you enjoyed today's video. Kindly subscribe to enjoy more wonderful contents from this channel.